When you are new to patchwork and quilting, you will find all sorts of very peculiar terms that will hit you, one of which is quilt sandwich. Not one of those, but it does help to make your quilts. But what is it? You'll also find the term layering interchanged with that. So what's that? What's the difference? I am here to tell you in this very quick video, and we'll get you sorted for once and for all so that you can go and talk about your quilts with an awful lot more confidence. Who am I? I am Kim. This is Quilt with Kim. You are very, very welcome. Let's go find out what all these funny terms mean then. A quilt is made of 3 layers, and those 3 layers are our quilt top. That is the bit that you've been making patchwork out of and makes your pretty patterns and designs, ably modelled here by this little square of fabric. I have had to keep all my pieces very small so they fit under the camera to show you, but this one is our quilt top. That's the pretty bit. Then we have wadding that sits in the middle, or batting is exactly the same thing as wadding, just depends on what side of the Atlantic you're on. So that is the bit that goes in the middle that makes our quilt snugly and warm. Then we have our backing fabric, and as the name suggests, that goes on the back of our quilt, underneath the quilt, and it can be a plain fabric or a pattern fabric, or you could actually piece it, use your patchwork if you wanted to, but for the most part we generally just have one piece of fabric, either a plain fabric or a pattern fabric, that we use to sit on the backing of our quilt. So how do these go together then? To make our quilt sandwich, we need to put these 3 layers together. Just like a sandwich has 2 pieces of bread with a filling in the middle. Our filling in this instance is our wadding. So we would take our backing fabric and we would put it right sides facing down. And appreciate I have a kind of white cloudy right side of this fabric, which you can't really see, but that goes right side facing down because that is the back of our quilt. So this is the wrong side that is now facing towards you. Then we're going to get our wadding, that is the filling to our sandwich, and we put that on the backing fabric, and we make sure those edges are aligned all the way around. Then we get our pretty quilt top, and we would put that in the middle of that wadding or batting. And we want to have a good margin of this wadding or batting all the way around. This is called your overage, by the way. And this is because when we quilt, it brings these edges in a little bit and it can make it look a little bit wibbly wobbly. But don't worry, because when you get to the finishing of your quilt, you will actually trim all this excess off and you won't see it anymore. So don't worry about that. But this is the whole reason why we have this overage, this little bit around the edge, the excess around the edge of our quilt. The bigger your quilt, the more you need to be. So a full-size quilt, you're probably looking at about a good 3 to 4 inches all the way around. On a little piece like this, you can get away with a little tiny bit of overage. So putting these 3 layers together and making what is now a quilt sandwich is called layering. So you have your separate layers, your backing, your wadding, your quilt top, and you layer your quilt, or you are layering those layers together, the 3 layers together, to make your quilt sandwich. The quilt sandwich is when all those 3 layers together and they are basted. And that is a subject for a whole other video. Basting just means to temporarily fix those 3 layers together. But there's lots of little techniques that you can use for that. So I'm not covering it in this video, but just know that we need to hold those 3 layers together temporarily whilst we do the quilting. So I hope that has helped explain what layering is, putting those 3 layers together to make your quilt sandwich. And that is when the 3 layers are together, basted and ready for quilting. If this has helped, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if it has, you might want to check out this video here to explain some more of those funny quilting terms. I will love you and leave you for now, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.